Good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Unbroken Stories of Adoption and Identity. Today, I have a very special guest who we actually go to church together, and her name is Jessica Rowlett. Welcome, Jessica.
Hey.
So, Jessica is an adoptee, but first, Jessica, I want you to share a little bit about who you are, your life, before we delve into your adoption story.
Okay. As she said, my name is Jessica, and I'm originally from San Angelo, Texas,
Okay.
which is West Texas. And I moved to the East Coast November the 5th of 1995.
Okay.
I am the mother of two beautiful children. My daughter Lakeisha is the oldest. My son Damien is the baby. He's deceased. He's been deceased now 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's just us. I've never been married. And the only child of the parents of Peggy and Robert Rowlett.
Okay, awesome. So let's talk a little bit about when were you adopted? And when were you adopted, and when did you know you were an adopted child?
Okay. I was adopted at birth.
Okay.
I was adopted at birth. My biological mother, she knew my adoptive parents.
Okay.
My mother, Peggy, my adoptive mother, couldn't have kids.
Okay.
And she wanted kids. And she couldn't bear kids. So when she had heard, from what I was told, that my biological mother was having a baby.
Okay.
She, inquired about, what she was going to do, because she knew that she had given the other two above me away.
Okay.
So,
now was Peggy is it interfamily or
no.
Okay.
No. It was I would say an associate.
Okay.
An associate. And my biological mother gave away my brother Anthony, my sister Roxanne, me.
Okay.
And she kept the baby girl Dee Dee.
Okay. So your adoption, it wasn't like Department of Social Services.
No.
It was just. So how did Peggy know your mom?
She knew her just from being in the town that we were in and everything. And privy to me, she knew her from around the way and stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. So did you have to go through the formal adoption process?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So since you were adopted at birth, at what age was it revealed to you that you were an adopted child?
I've known I was adopted from the age of 5.
Okay.
From the age of 5, and it was explained to me what happened, how it happened, why it happened. And
so at age 5, if you can recall that being.
Oh, I can.
Yeah, tell me about that.
I remember it was a Sunday after church, and I had been asking all these questions because my sister Roxanne and we would always play together, because Roxanne only lived up the street from me across North Chabron. There was a main intersection that separated us. And I would walk all the way up to the stop sign. She would walk to the stop sign, and either she would wait for me to cross or I would wait for her to cross, and we'd walk back to my house, or vice versa.
And this your biological
sister? My biological
sister,
sister, Roxanne. And she currently lives in Austin, Texas with her husband. And so I've always known, where she was. But at the age of 5, come home from church and sitting in the floor playing with my Barbies. And my mother said, I want to share something with you. And I said, okay. I'm thinking we going out of town. But she
As
said,
a 5-year-old, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking we going out of town. But she said, I want to explain to you why you have the questions that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And I said,
You remember what those questions were at 5?
I asked her, I remember asking her one time why I didn't look like her.
Okay.
And she would always tease and say, but you do.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd say, no, my hair's not red.
Mm-hmm.
My mother had a hue of redness to her hair.
Okay.
It was real wavy, curly,
Mm-hmm.
but she would dye it maybe dark brown or black.
Mm-hmm.
But she had a redness to her hair. And my hair was coal black.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say, but my hair is not red,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and I'd say, you know, my hands don't look like your hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was little features that I recognized.
Mm-hmm.
And I was short. My father was 6'2".
Okay.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, I'm short. Mm-hmm. So, but the shortness, her being short, because she was only 5 foot.
Okay.
So with her being short, I was like, okay, well, maybe that's where I get the shortness from. Mm-hmm. Right? But then I thought about it. I was like, I do go get my hair. I was natural. I do go get my hair blown out. They do press it out. Because I never saw my hair wavy curly. Okay. Mm-hmm. So I would always, it was just little things. You know, when she would, I noticed that I was never sick. But she stayed at the doctor a lot. Okay. So I always wondered, you know, why is mommy sick? How come I'm not sick? Or why does she go to the doctor so much? I only go when it's time for checkups or, you know, for school and stuff. Innocent questions. Yeah. So she used to call me Miss Inquisitive. So she sat me down that Sunday and she explained to me, she said, what I'm about to say to you doesn't change the way that I feel about you. She said it never will. Okay. Then I got sad. And she said, no, don't cry. She said, this is a good thing. My face. And she said, I couldn't have kids. She said, and we wanted kids. She said, but we adopted you at birth. I said, what you mean?
Right. Because a 5-year don't know what adopted mean, right?
And she said, it's a process where someone who has had a child doesn't want the baby and wants to give them to someone who will love them and take care of them.
So what was going on in your little mind when you're hearing that?
So the first thing I said, so my mom didn't want me?
Yeah.
And she said, she tried to clean it up, right? She tried to make it sound like, well, she wasn't in a space to raise a child or she didn't have the money, you know, to take care of another child. But I'm saying to myself,
you heard what you heard.
Right. And she said, don't ever think that you're not loved. I said, but she didn't love me. She said, but you're loved. And after she said it for like the 3rd time, I just said, okay.
Right.
You know, I wanted to leave it alone. Right. Because even at 5, I was real adamant about certain things.
What you mean? Tell me, expound on that.
When I say adamant, I mean, like, I know what you said, but I know it's more to it. I don't understand.
Yeah.
But I really want to know. And I think as I got older in age, she started breaking certain things down to me.
Those things like what?
She started breaking down stuff like, well, you know, she had Anthony, she had Roxanne.
Okay, so start filling in more.
She started filling in more the gaps, and every summer, it was like a ritual. My biological mother would come to Texas from California, and she would bring Anthony to Texas, Dee Dee. And then Roxanne would come up the street, and all of us would get together. Awesome. That was a norm every summer. So
so you knew your biological.
I knew my biological siblings. I did. We didn't grow up together, but I knew them. I knew of them.
So you also knew of your birth mom. So you had a somewhat of a relationship?
No
relationship. Okay, but so these are the summers. How were those summers?
The summers were fun because we were able to, see each other. We were able to play with one another, but I could always tell that when it came to my brother, Anthony, that he had to grow up fast. Because he was in foster care his whole life. And then when he turned 18, she had to take him back. But by that time, he was grown. He was already in a gang. He had been in gangs most of his life. He was a Crip. He had been in and out of the jail system.
And what's the age difference between Anthony and you?
Oh, Anthony's the oldest. Anthony had a heart attack in May of 2015. So he was the oldest. I'm 55. I want to say Roxanne probably now is 59. 59 now. I'm not sure how old Dee Dee is.
So did your mom give away your other siblings as well? And then just brought y'all together during the summer?
Like I said, she kept the baby girl. But the three oldest, she got rid of. Like I said, Anthony was in foster care all his life. Roxanne, she knew Roxanne's mother too. I don't know the dynamics of what they, how that went. But I knew that she knew Roxanne's mother, the one that Roxanne ended up being raised by, and the family that Roxanne was raised by, and then she knew my adoptive parents.
So were all those adoptions? They were all like kind of private. So tell me how getting that news at 5, how that shaped who you thought you were at that young age.
To be honest with you, I went through a lot of what ifs, how comes, whys. I went through a feeling of rejection. And I didn't know what rejection was that young, right?
Yes.
I didn't know, but real. I knew that I wasn't wanted. And that left a stain on my heart. It left a stain on my mind. And if I'm honest, Chris, it made me mean. It made me really mean. I was nice and kind to those who were close proximity to me. Those on the outside that were trying to come in had nothing coming, ever.
And we're talking about this
at 5, from a little girl. And me being an only child in that household, I didn't want for anything. You know, I had two hard-working class parents. Father worked for the railroad. My mother was a nurse. And I wanted to be like her. I wanted to be a nurse.
Okay.
And I wanted to do everything that she did. When my father started driving 18-wheelers, I wanted to drive 18-wheelers because I could travel. I could be on the road. You know, I basically set my schedule as long as the product got to where it needed to be, right? I could do what I wanted to do, right? And then I remember being 9, and my father and I flew from Dallas, Fort Worth to New York.
Okay.
That's the first time I had ever been on a plane. I'm wrong. First time I had ever been on a plane was 3, the age of 3.
Okay.
And then the second time we went, I was 9, and we went up to New York City.
Okay.
First time I'd ever been up to New York City. But I was going up to New York to see my aunts, my father's sisters.
Okay.
My Aunt Dolores, who's now deceased, and my Aunt Linda, who she no longer lives in New York. She lives in Southern Virginia. And I remember getting up there and meeting my cousins, my Aunt Dolores's daughter and son. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was my first time ever really being around them in a setting like that.
Family.
And just family has always been a big thing for me. But as I've gotten older, I realized that just because you say family, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're family.
Yeah.
You know, you hear the adage, blood is thicker than water. You can be blood and you're water to them.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize a lot of that until I got older. You know, I really saw things.
I can resonate with that. That's, you know, as we share about being adoptees, I can so resonate with that because people say, I don't get it. Like, I don't get it, you know, because of our beginnings, you know, just like you, I was adopted at 5. You know what I mean? But I went through foster care. So that blood thicker than water thing, it never resonated with me. So I understand where you're coming from.
So I remember the summer of when I was 9, and that was a big summer for me because I did a lot that summer. But it always ended back up, all of us in the front yard playing in the water, getting wet, sliding them down the slide, playing, you know, all of us together. And I remember when it was time to go. That was the hardest part. It was always Anthony, Roxanne, and me.
So let me ask you, so was Anthony, Roxanne, did they get to travel to New York?
No.
Okay, but you just remember.
It was just me and my father, Rowlett, Robert. It was just him and I. We were going up there. I don't remember what we went up there for, but we were up there for a few days. And I remember that was the first time being on 42nd Street, because, you know, 42nd Street was the highlight of a lot in New York City back in that time, right? In the 70s. And that was the first time I had ever seen a fox or a mink coat. That was the first time I had ever seen. Right. That was the first time I had ever seen a prostitute. That was the first time I had ever seen a pimp. That was the first time I saw the things that I saw. Right. And that was the first time that I had ever heard certain things, because in my household, you didn't hear that in my household because I was raised in church.
Right.
I didn't hear that. But being in New York City, I was subject to hear anything. Right?
Yeah, right.
Right? So, but I fell in love with the city.
Okay.
I fell in love with the lights. I fell in love with Manhattan. I fell in love with Brooklyn. I fell in love with Lenox. I fell in love with Harlem. It was just the people itself I fell in love with. And I remember telling my father that when I got grown, I was moving to New York City. Yeah. He said, well, baby, he said, I'm here to tell you, I hate that city. He said, you'll never see me. He said, I'm not coming to visit. He said, you'll have to come south to see me. He said, I hate New York City. He said, we only came up here because I wanted to check on your aunt.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And I said, what you mean? He said, I'll never forget this. He said, now that's grown folks' business. He said, but if you move up here when you get 19, 20, you'll never see me. He said, now, if something happens and I have to come up here to find you, he said, that's different. He said, but just to be coming up here to visit to see how you doing, he said, you'll never catch me in the city.
Wow.
No. He said, I hate that city. And he hates D.C. too. He hated D.C. I got him to come into D.C. one time to have lunch with me when I worked in D.C.
So let's go back to when your brothers and sisters were visited with those summers, those fun summers, and you had mentioned that you hated like when it was over.
When it was time for us to go our separate ways, it was always hard for Anthony, Roxanne, and I.
Okay.
Because we knew that we wouldn't see each other again
for a while.
Now, the baby girl, it was, she played with us, but it was different for us, because she was with our mother.
Yes.
We weren't.
Right.
We were with people who we called mom and dad.
Yeah.
Not Anthony, but Roxanne and I, we were with people who we called mom and dad, but they weren't our blood.
Yes.
So whenever it was time for Roxanne to walk back up the street, Anthony and I would walk her back up the street, made sure she got across the main thoroughway.
Y'all still lived in close proximity.
Roxanne and I did. Roxanne lived in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Compton.
But it was still like some special moments for you to be able to bond with your siblings. But I think it's important too to just mention here, when you have broken families and different, like same mom but maybe different dads, or the dynamics of the family, people got to understand that people's experiences are different. Like
Absolutely.
you saying, your younger sister, she stayed with your mother.
Absolutely. And to this day, you can't tell her nothing that the biological mother said or did to us, because she don't believe none of it.
Right. Because her experience
is different.
And see, and I can resonate that, being, I was married, divorced. I have 2 daughters by my ex-husband, but my ex-husband had 2 other children. And so he has 4 children by 3 different women, right? But their experiences are completely different. So I always try to explain that to them. Your experiences are different, and y'all have to respect that difference because of the dynamics of how you guys grew up. All a part of identity, So, but I so far what you're sharing, I think it's a blessing though that you were able to spend that quality time, even though it was limited, with your siblings, So let's fast forward a little bit. So now that was your younger years, and now, so tell me more about how you navigated with Peggy and how that life continued.
My mother, Peggy, she was firm with me. And I didn't understand why until I got like 15, 16.
Okay.
I didn't understand why she was as firm or as hard on me as she was. Remember, I said she always went to the doctor. I never knew what was behind the scenes of those doctor visits, right?
Okay.
So when I turned 14, getting ready, I was 14. I was getting ready to go into being 15.
Okay.
I remember, this is probably the 4th or 5th time I had been on a plane, but this time was probably the 2nd or 3rd time I had been on a plane by myself. So I flew to California,
Mm-hmm.
and I was going to stay with my cousin Melba,
Mm-hmm.
her niece, and her husband, who was a Marine. He was stationed in
Okay.
California. So while I was in California, I had the opportunity to see Anthony and Dee Dee.
Okay.
So that meant I had to go to my biological mother's house
Okay. Okay.
in Sacramento. And that also meant that I would be staying there.
Okay.
Now, being that I'm coming into the young woman, I'm a teenager,
Yes.
but I'm becoming a young woman.
Mm-hmm.
I've already had my first job, candy striper in the hospital.
Okay.
Working at Captain D's.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've already got my first car. Like,
Okay.
I understand what it is to kind of navigate to be, a young woman and trying to establish yourself.
So the circumstances behind you going to California were what? Just to visit?
Just to visit.
Okay.
Just to visit. Dee Dee wanted me to come out for the summer because they always came here.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So when I got there, I stayed at my cousin Melba's for maybe a day or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then her and her husband Lamar, they brought me to my biological mother's house.
Okay.
And I got there, I was welcomed. It was warm. But the person that I was looking for Anthony.
Okay.
Like, I talked and I played with my baby sister, but I really wanted to see Anthony. Anthony always told me that I was his favorite.
Okay.
And he said that I was his favorite because from a little girl, I've always known what I wanted and how I wanted it, what I liked and what I didn't like.
Okay.
He said that he really couldn't say that about my other two.
Okay.
So when I got in the house, he wasn't there. He was out in the street.
Oh, okay.
So with his friends. And so me and my baby sister, we were in the house playing or whatever, just having a good time, backyard playing, running around playing. And then I want to say it was like 7 that evening when Anthony came in. He came in to eat. But it looked like he was just coming in to grab something to eat and he was going to head back out.
Okay.
So when he came in, he sat at the kitchen table. He really didn't come in because the front door was here, living room was here, kitchen was here, and then there was a back door. I remember the house like it was yesterday. And then from the living room, you went this way, there was a hallway.
Yeah.
But there was a door, there was a bathroom. To the left was Dee Dee's room, to the right was my biological mother's room.
Okay.
And I remember us playing and we were sitting in the room playing and Dee Dee says, I want you to stay. And I said, what you mean? She said, I want you to stay. She said, I don't want you to go back to Texas.
And Dee Dee is?
The baby girl.
Right. Okay.
I said, but I have to go back. So she says, well, I'm going to go ask mommy, can you stay? My heart dropped because I knew what she was going to say.
Okay.
I didn't know how she was going to say it, right? So she gets up. I follow her. I'm standing in this doorway in front of the bathroom. She's sitting on the bed. My biological mother, she's sitting on the bed. Dee Dee is standing kind of in the doorway, kind of out, but in the doorway talking to her. And she says, I want Jessica to stay. She said, I don't want her to go back to Texas. She said, I want her to stay. She said, Mommy, can she stay? She stands up to where I can see her. And she looks at Dee Dee and she says, if I wanted Jessica, I'd have kept her. She said, but I didn't want her then and I don't want her now.
Wow.
So.
You like 15.
I was getting ready to turn 15.
And how old was Dee Dee?
I'm 55. I want to say I'm 5 years older than her. So might be 7. I don't know. But when she said that, that confirmed my rejection. That confirmed
like a double rejection.
That confirmed of not wanting me, not loving me, not caring about me, all of that. So when she said that, I didn't let not one tear drop. I looked her in her face and I said, "May I use your phone, please?" She said, "Sure." I went in the living room. I called my cousin. I said, "Can you please come and get me?" She said, "Jessica, what's wrong?" I said, "Please come and get me." Anthony stood up. He's standing in the kitchen doorway and he's furious.
And I heard it too.
I said, "Just come and get me." I said, "Please come and get me." So I went into Dee Dee's room, got my bag, came back, and I sat in the corner of the couch like this by the lamp until the doorbell rang. I didn't move. My bag was right there. So when they got there, I opened the door.
And these your other relatives. Right.
My adoptive mother's niece.
Yes.
And her husband, because he was stationed in California. He was a Marine.
Okay.
So they came in and I went to the car. But before I went to the car, she was standing in the doorway and I was standing like mid-circle in the living room. And I said, "Thank you." I said, "Thank you for everything." And I looked at her again and I said, "You'll never have to worry about me another day in your life." And I turned around and I walked away.
15.
And I never looked back. I'm 55.
Yeah.
I never looked back. And I got in the car. But when I got in the car, I screamed. I cried like somebody had hit me deep in my gut. Like she ripped something through me. And when I got back to their house, I went in the room that I had been staying in. I closed the door and I cried all night. And then she called my mother and father in Texas and told them what had happened. And they wanted to fly
and come
out.
Get you.
And they kept telling them, "No, she's fine. She has another week here. She's gonna be fine." And I did, because I was there for 3 weeks. She has another week here, let her enjoy it. She'll have a good time. We're gonna take care of her. That she's gonna be fine. And I cried. And I remember Melba, my mother's niece, I remember her coming in there and she consoled me all night. She said, "Jessica, don't cry." She kept saying, "Don't cry, don't cry." She kept saying, she said, "But that's not who you are." She said, "Although you come from her," she said, "that's not who you are." She said, "Because you've been raised a certain way." She said, "That's not who you are." She said, "You'll never be that." And
were you able to receive that? Because
because
like as you're sharing, I'm like, so 5 years old, you find out. 10 years later, it's like you find out you're rejected by your mom, and then 10 years later, you rejected literally face to face by her.
I heard her, but it was still that unsettling feeling in my heart. I'm not loved. I'm not wanted.
Just reiteration.
It's a broken record. It's replaying over and over, and that was hard. That was hard for me. But the one thing, when I said thank you, and when I told her that she would never have to worry about me another day in her life, to this day, I can't tell you where she is, if she's okay. I've heard. But to literally lay my eyes on her, and my baby sister either.
So at age 15, so once you go back home with Peggy, did y'all talk about it?
We talked about it, and things shifted
Okay.
fast because at 15, Peggy was diagnosed with heart disease.
Okay.
She's making sure that I'm active.
Okay.
I'm busy. I'm in violin lessons. I'm playing volleyball. I'm playing basketball. You know, I'm constantly doing something to where I can't see really what's going on with her, but she's keeping me active. She's at the game. She's, you know, we're at church. I'm at usher practice. I'm at choir rehearsal. You know, I'm at a vacation Bible school. I'm at all these things. She's making sure I'm busy. I'm at speech classes. And not because I had a stutter or anything like that. She just wanted me, she said, someday you're going to be speaking.
Okay.
She said, someday you're going to be speaking. Someday you're going to be, you know, telling people stuff. You know, she would always say that.
You just invested in you.
And I'm looking at her like, yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. But, no, because I hated, to this day, I really don't like standing up and talking in front of people. I really hope that people don't want to hear anything I have to say, because that means that I have to stand up, I have to talk, I have to tell certain things, right? I don't want to do that.
And you're a great speaker at that.
Anyway.
Yes, ma'am. Great speaker, guys, at church. She's a minister at our church, just always sharing. But yes, we'll go on.
Anyway. So I never liked that. I really loved playing the violin. I really loved playing volleyball, and I really loved playing basketball because I was really good at it. I was real good at it. I had been on varsity since 9th grade. My basketball year, I had been on varsity since maybe my sophomore year in high school. Like, I really enjoyed that. Like, you know, sports. I really enjoyed it. Then she would always, I was in spelling bees, all that. And I kept saying, what are we trying to keep up with? Because
you were only child,
I'm busy. Like, when I come home, I don't even want to eat some nights because I'm tired. Like, after volleyball practice or basketball practice, like, I come in, I sit down and I talk, and it's homework, and then I go to bed, like, and then it's all over again, right? And I remember we had moved. We moved closer to the high school I was going to.
Okay. She
didn't want me to go to the high school that was by us, because my high school sweetheart went to that school. She didn't want me to go to that school. So she moved me way out, and she thought that I would never see him again, or that I would never talk to him again. Wrong. Negative. But as things started to progress, I would come home and I would start to see all these different medications. And so one day my father was away on work, on business, and we were in the new house, and she was in the kitchen cooking, and I was sitting like at the countertop, bar stool. And I said, Mommy, I said, I noticed in your bathroom. She said, what you doing in my bathroom? I said, I was going in there to look for something, but I had to use the bathroom. I went to your bathroom. She said, oh, okay. I said, but I noticed all the medicine in your bathroom. I said, are you okay? She said, yeah, I'm fine. And I said, are you sure? She said, yeah, I'm going to be fine. She was one of those that, as long as she made sure everybody else was okay, that's all that mattered. She didn't want anybody to fuss over her. She didn't want anybody to worry about her. So that night, Daddy called home to check on us. And when I got the phone, I kind of started whispering. I was like, hey, Daddy. I was like, I don't think Mommy good. I was like, I noticed all this medicine in the bathroom. I don't think she good. I was like, when you coming home? He's like, I'll be home Friday. I was like, oh, okay. So when he got home Friday, he did come home Friday. We were sitting at the table, we were eating, and he brought it up.
Okay.
And so that's when it came out that she had heart disease.
Okay.
So, and she was a nurse. She knew. She worked for a kidney specialist.
Oh, okay.
So, her team, they all started in the hospital that she worked in, but then he got an office, a practice next to the hospital.
Okay.
So then she went with him and worked in the hospital, but they went back and forth, right? So I remember that summer, I was 15, getting ready to turn 16.
Yes, okay.
So yeah, because the next year I would have been 16. So that summer I worked in the office with her.
Okay.
And so I was able to eavesdrop. I was able to hear certain things, because while she was at work, she would go over to the hospital and do lab work. She would have tests ran. She would do everything, right? And then she'd come back and they'd call and they'd give her test results and this, that kind of stuff, right? So I'm listening. And then at this particular time, I'll never forget this. I was supposed to already be taking a specimen to the hospital, but I heard her get the call and I knew it was her doctor, and I stayed.
Okay.
And he told her that she was in full-blown heart disease and that she needed to have heart surgery.
Okay.
So I know you remember Dallas and I know you remember Knox Landing. So we left the house at the same time that morning. Mind you, my father's already gone back to work on the road. And I'm in my car. She gets in her car. She goes to work. I go to school. They pull me off the gym floor and take me into the office. It's her.
Okay.
And she says, I'm not feeling well. She said, I'll be home when you get home. She said, make sure you come straight home. I said, okay. So I practiced that day, but I was worried because I could see this building up.
Progressing.
And when I got there, she said, you want to sleep with me tonight? Never asked me that. And I remember getting in the bed with her, and she laid on my left side because we were watching Knox Landing. And I said, Mommy, what's wrong? And she said, I don't feel right. And I said, what you mean? She said, I don't feel right. And then her face literally went white, like white. And I said, well, let's go to the hospital. She said, no. She said, let's go in the bedroom and, you know, I'm going to take some medicine. And she said, if I'm not better within an hour or two, she said, then we can go. Chris, she laid on the side of me and she had a heart attack. And I felt, because of the medical stuff that I knew, when she gasped, I felt it. And I sat up, laid her back, and I called Dr. Coughlin, is who it was. And I said, we're on the way to the hospital. I got her dressed, got her in the hospital, got her in. They wheeled her in. The doctor came back and said, the next 12 to 24 hours is in God's hands. She has to have heart surgery. We didn't have cell phones back then.
Right.
So I couldn't call my father.
Right.
And I remember being furious with her. Like, I remember being mad. But I understood because she had been preparing me all this time, because she was sitting down with me explaining to me what a checkbook was, what savings was, and how you pay this and what you need to do with this. She had been preparing me I heard her, but in my eyes and in my heart, I just knew that I would always have my mother forever, right?
Right.
So they flew her to San Antonio.
Mm-hmm.
And they got her to San Antonio. And I remember the doctor coming in and he said it again.
Mm-hmm.
He said the next 12 to 24 hours will depict on whether or not she'll be here or not.
And it's just you with her.
It's just me. And I'm waiting on my father to come.
Mm-hmm.
He knew to come to San Antonio and not go back home. And so I'm sitting there and I'm literally pacing the hallway and I'm like, where's my daddy? Where's my daddy? Because I was scared. Like I didn't.
Of course, at 16.
I didn't know. And she had said one night in the kitchen, she was cooking some greens and black-eyed peas. She said, you're going to have to grow up fast.
So that's when it came back to you too.
And as I'm pacing in the hallway, I'm replaying everything that she has said to me, everything that she's given me, because she's given me the tools.
Right. Mm-hmm.
She's given me the tools. And in giving me the tools, she has reminded me how much I am loved, how much I'm wanted, how much she really wants me to stop being mean, how she wanted me to let that rejection pill go, but I couldn't. She wanted me to see me the way that she saw me, but I couldn't. I couldn't, because there was a hurt that hadn't healed yet, right? So my father gets there. She's in the room. She's hooked up to this machine and everything. The machine is pumping for her. And she could barely talk because of the fluid that built up on her lungs. So when my father got there, they took her out because he had papers to sign. I wasn't old enough to sign the papers.
Right.
He signed the papers and I walked with her down the hallway and they went into this room where they were going to start
like surgery?
No, they were pulling the fluid off of her. Well, the nurse didn't close the curtain on the window so I could see what they were doing. They drained 3 pounds of fluid off of her at that time. That was to get her ready for surgery.
Okay.
And then after that, she came back in. She was able to breathe because the fluid wasn't resting on her heart and her lungs anymore. And so she was sitting down, and this is the first time I heard her. This is the first time she said it. My father was on one side of the bed. I was on the other. And she said, Jessica. I turned and I looked at her. I said, yes, mommy. She said, I'm dying. She said, I know you don't want to hear this. She said, but I am.
Wow.
She said, I have prepared you for what you're going to need. What you mean?
Right.
Like, what you mean you dying?
Yeah.
I'm literally 16 years old. What you mean?
Right.
So here's another weight.
Yeah.
And she turns and she looks to my father and she says, all I require you to do is to be the father that you've always been to her. She said, I've given her everything that she's gonna need. She said, she will need guidance on some other things. She said, and she will need her father. She said, but as a woman, she said the tools that she's really gonna need, I've given those to her. I'm sitting there looking out the window.
Like unbelievable.
Now, this is where I first got angry with God. And I said, I'm wrong. Second time I got angry with him. Because the first time it was, how could you give me to a woman like that who didn't want me? And then not only want me, but my siblings. How could you allow us to be formed in a womb like that? And then for us to be treated like that?
Yeah.
Only we were given the good people. Two of us were given the good people, but my brother had to suffer. So how is it that you, is this love? So that's the first time I questioned God's love, right? So in this instant, I'm like, because in my mind, I was going to have my mother forever. Right? My mother was going to see me get grown. She was going to see me have her grandbabies. She was going to be there. You know, she was going to be at my wedding. She was going, all of this, right? And when she said that, I put up another wall. I already had 3 up. Right. So now I have another titanium wall up. Nobody's getting through this. And my father said, Jessica, it's going to be okay. I didn't say anything. I was mad. I was really angry. But then she was able to come home. That's when I really learned the power of prayer. Because I remember saying to God, I need her. I need her to see me graduate high school. I need her to see me through college. I need her. Right. I remember getting home and them telling her that she would never work again. She would never be able to do the things that she loved to do. Okay. Mind you, I learned how to shoot a gun through my parents. I learned how to fish. I learned how to camp. I learned how to hike. I learned how to drive a car. All of that, right? And I remember sitting in my room one night facing the window. And I remember talking to God. I said, if you love me, she'll live. If she die, you don't love me. Yeah. It's exactly what I said. Yeah. And I said, and at that time, I didn't understand the dynamics of what we've been taught today in church. I didn't understand the dynamics of that, right? I just knew how I felt. I knew that I was angry, and I felt that I had been dealt a short hand. Yeah. And I felt that I didn't deserve it. Right. Right? So I'm going to go up a step. We're home. Time to get ready to go off to school. I don't want to go away. I want to stay home and I want to go to the college that's there. Okay. She didn't want me to go because she knew the riffraff that was at that college. Okay. She didn't want me to be around it. She wanted me to go away. That way I would have to get a job. I would learn to stand on my own 2 feet. The stuff that she had already started preparing me for. When I would get summer jobs and working at the hospital, she sent me away. So I was mad about that. I acted a fool about that. And I kept saying, why do I have to go away? I can still get a job here. I can still work at the hospital. I just need to be, I felt a need to be close to her because something in my heart said that it wasn't right, that something was getting ready to happen. Like I wanted to be able to stop it. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you wanted to be there. I wanted to be there, but I also wanted to try to prevent it. knowing that I probably couldn't.
Right.
But I wanted to try because I kept telling God, I said, I need her.
Mm-hmm.
She's all I've ever known.
Yes, yes.
She's all they are all I've ever had.
Right.
And I was in my room folding clothes, and she came in there and she looked at me. She said, she called me by my middle name. She said, don't fight me on this. She said, you going one or two ways. She said, but you getting the hell up out of here. I was like, wow.
So are you feeling like rejection?
Again,
yeah.
And she walks out. And I said, wow. Again.
Yeah.
And I sat on the side of the bed again, facing the window. And I said, God, is this what you call love?
Yeah.
I said, this isn't love. Again, not understanding, not really knowing the dynamics of everything. And although I've been in church all my life, again, I didn't know then what I know now.
Right.
I didn't understand the line of it. I didn't, right? I really thought that I knew something then because I had been in church from yay high in church, but I really didn't. And I remember her walking out the room. She come back down the hallway, and I had stopped folding clothes. She said, you need to fold up those clothes. She said, because we're getting on the road in a day or two. And she said, we're going to this university. And she said, you getting up out of here. She said, you're going. So
in your mind, it's like, we're talking about 16, right? 16,
17.
Yeah.
I left home at 17.
So rejection, you got grief, pain. Now she's sick. You're not sure what's going to happen with her.
So I'm in my room. I'm studying calculus. And the phone rings in my room. I'm in a co-ed dorm.
Okay.
And I had my own room. My room was about the size of this right here. I had my own room. And 3 of my good friends had just left. Okay. 2 of them played basketball. I was playing volleyball. And the other one, she came in late. She couldn't play basketball. She couldn't play with us while we were playing. She had to wait till next semester.
Okay.
So the phone rings after they left. And I answer the phone, and it's her. And I said, hey, Mommy. She said, what you doing? I said, studying. She said, studying what? I said, this man. I said, I don't like it. She said, but you said you wanted to be in the medical field. I said, I know. I said, this is extra. She said, oh, Jessica. And she said, I need to talk to you. My heart dropped. And she said, I have cancer. I put the phone down. And I cried. And I heard her screaming in the phone. I said, I'm here. And she said, did you hear me? I said, yes. She said, when you come home for spring break, she said, I'm going to sit down with you and we're going to go over the insurance policy. Put the phone back down again. I picked the phone back up. She said, stop putting the phone down and listen to me. I said, yes, ma'am. So she said, I'm dying. She said, the kind of cancer that I have is rare in African American women. She said, African American women do not get melanoma. She said because of the pigmentation of our skin, right? She said, but when you come home, she said, we're going to have fun. She said, but we are going to discuss business. And we did that. I went back to school. November came. November the 7th, 8th, the hospital called me and was telling me, your mother's transitioning. If you can get home, get home.
And this is your freshman year?
I was 19. 19. And that night it stormed like crazy. I remember her calling me. And she said, I want you to know. She said, I know that you felt not loved. She said, but I want you to know from the first day that I held you in my arms that I loved you. And she said, there's nothing in this world that I wouldn't do for you. She said, you were the apple of my eye. She said, you were one of the best gifts that God ever gave me. She said, if I had it to do all over again, she said, I would. She said, you're amazing. She said, you're beautiful. She said, you're gifted. She said, you're talented. She said, I just didn't put you in all that stuff for nothing.
Richard, can we get some tissue?
She said, you are amazing. She said, I know it hasn't been easy. She said, but truth be told, it was like she was prophesying to me. She said, truth be told, it was set up that way. She said, you were set up for what's to come. Because of the way I was raised and how respectful I was. I'm cussing back here. I'm mad.
Of course.
I'm mad, right?
Thank you, Richard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm mad. I'm flipping furniture and everything else back here, right? But up close, I hear everything that she said, and that was the first time that I saw the love. Because
I felt it and heard it.
I felt it and I heard it. The other times I couldn't see it because of everything that was going on around me. It was so much going on around me, I didn't have time to sit and process. I didn't. Because it was one thing after another. And in one thing after another, she was teaching me, she was setting me up, she was preparing me for what was to come. So that night, she called me, she told me. I got on the highway in that storm and I drove home. It was late that night. By the time I got into my hometown, right before I got into my hometown, this bright light shot through my Jeep's windshield. And I looked in the rearview mirror and I saw her sitting in the back seat. That's when I knew she was gone. When I got to the light to our house, to the right was the hospital, to the left was our house. And I wanted to go to the hospital, but I knew that they wouldn't let me see her. So when I got to the house, my father, my uncles, everybody, my father's brothers, everybody, her best friend, everybody was in the house. When I walked in the house, he stood up and he looked at me and I said, I know. And I went into her bedroom and sat on they had a section like this with a sofa and stuff, and I sat on the end of the sofa. And I shut down. I couldn't cry. A rage formed in me that
like how you take her.
Even to this day, the anger that formed up in me towards God, 3 years I didn't walk into a church. For 3 years, I didn't open a Bible. I would come in the house. She had one of those big Bibles that sat on the coffee table.
Those big ones, yes.
It stayed on Psalms. From the time she was there to the time I closed it. I never opened it. I never looked at it. That's how angry I was at God. And I said, but you said that you love me. Again, I didn't understand.
Right.
I didn't understand. So.
That rejection, yeah.
The rejection of it all. If I'm honest, I carried it with me through life until I really had to sit and face Jessica. Because there came a time to where I had to look at Jessica in the mirror and I had to own whatever part I played in it.
Yeah.
But I also had to try to figure out what I had no control over.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because there was a lot that I had no control over.
Basically, most of it.
Most of it.
Yeah.
Most of it. I had no control of it. And I always, around the holidays.
Yes.
I would get off to myself and I would ask God, I said, God, why did you give me to the people that you gave me to? You could have given me to anybody. Why did it have to be her?
Only the loser. Yeah. I mean, because it's so many emotions you were going through. You're talking about rejection upon rejection upon rejection, and then loss, and then also still feeling rejected not only by your birth mom, but now Peggy, who is dying, is still, I feel, rejected because now God, this is who you gave me, and now you're going to take her away from me too?
Right. And I'm young.
Yes. Very, very young.
I'm young. And I didn't know the dynamics of taking care of a house.
Yes.
I know what she told me. I know what she laid before me and how to do it. But I just wanted to go to school, play volleyball, go to bonfires on the beach, come home and run my daddy crazy. That's all I wanted to do.
Right.
That's all I wanted to do. You know, be a young woman, semi-teenager still, you know, but a young woman. And I wanted to travel and I wanted to do me.
So how do you think that multi-layer of rejection, grief, loss shaped your identity?
It definitely made me into the person that I am today.
And tell me who that is.
The woman that I am today,
yes,
she would be very proud of. She would be very proud of. She would say, I knew you could do it. She would say, I told you you would be talking in front of people. She would say, I told you you would be in some form of leadership somewhere. I told you you would be that safe space that a lot of people would come to and talk to and, you know, gravitate to. She would say, now you see why when kids see you, they come to you all the time. You know.
So she's still there with you. She spoke life into you.
She did.
Despite you losing her. And you know you were loved even though you questioned it.
I absolutely did. I absolutely did, because there were so many things, so many questions that she asked my biological mother on her deathbed that she never got the answers to. I was sitting at the table when she wrote the letter and when she mailed it to get the answers that she wanted, but she never did. She died here not getting the answers that she wanted.
And it's amazing. Like, I remember when I first opened up the podcast, it's like, you know, grappling with being rejected by somebody, and then having, you know, grieving the loss of the rejection from your birth mom, and then having to adapt to, you know, like it's like you're on the fence. Like, you want to be loved by who actually had you, and then trying to adapt to this is my family now, and then all the questions that are always there that never go away. You know what I mean? And then
they never go away.
It's just so multi-layered, and like people don't understand. It's like, you know, being an adoptee is so many layers to it. It's grief,
and then
loss,
if you're honest, it follows you in your relationships.
Yes.
Your marriage, if you've been married, it follows you into that if you haven't dealt with it. And I noticed in my late 20s, my middle 30s, maybe 37, 38, it followed me in my relationships.
Yeah.
Not just in friendships, but in relationships.
Yes. And speak on that a little bit.
Friendships, it seemed that I had friends, like the friends that I formed when I got here in 95, I still have those friends, like 25, 30 plus years.
Yeah.
I would say only one. And that's, I can call her at 2:00 in the morning and say, put on all black. This is what we can ready to do. That's her. That's her.
Your ride or die.
That's my ride or die. That's her.
Right.
And I don't have to talk to her every day. You know how some women are clingy, needy, and they need, I don't have to talk to her every day. A month can go by, but whenever she calls me, we pick up like I just talked to her yesterday, like I talked to her yesterday. But in my intimate relationships, I can honestly say a very good one got away. I can honestly say that.
And do you think that's because, like, you know, because I think too, I can agree with you about how it affects you in your relationships, because like we know what it's like to be chosen by another family, right? But then when the relationship fails, you know what I mean? Like, you know, another form of rejection in your life, you know what I mean? So it's just so many layers to it. You know, it affects your identity or who you think you are. Who do you?
Yeah. I think when you start to deal with you, and because you know that it's something that you haven't dealt with, right?
Yes.
When for me, during the pandemic, when I really had to sit at home, I had major surgery during the pandemic. So I was healing, but there was nobody to take care of me. Jessica had to take care of Jessica. So I had to deal with me. I had to look at me in the mirror. I had to pull the banana peel back. I had to really deal with me. The good, the bad, the ugly, the rejection. I had to deal with that. So one of the things that I never would talk about with my therapist was rejection, because it brought up
too much pain.
It brought up too much pain.
It's amazing how, like, you know, we go to church together, and it wasn't until I think it was last December when we had the pajama party, when you had revealed that you were adopted, right? And it's amazing the feelings, the same similar feelings, the fact that we both were adopted around age 5, and just like you, during COVID is when I started my intense therapy. And when you start processing all of that, it's so ugly.
It is ugly because you see a side of you that you thought you had dealt with that you really didn't deal with. And then you start to see why certain things have happened or are going the way that they're going because you haven't done the work that you needed to deal with that. Right? I saw a side of me when that side of me was revealed to me during the pandemic. I literally closed the door. Like I was afraid to touch it because I knew the pain and the hurt that sat there. I didn't want to deal with
that.
Right. I didn't want to open that. I didn't want to pull that scab off that sore.
Right.
I didn't. And then when I started going to a therapist, she brought it up at one time. And I shut her down because I didn't want to deal with it. Didn't want to deal with it. It was other things that I could touch on, but she said to me, Jessica, you can't touch that without dealing with that.
Isn't it amazing the things that come out, you know?
And I told her, well, I don't know how we're going to do this then.
You're like, wait a minute.
I was honest.
And you have to be ready. You have to be ready to be able to process that. You know what I mean?
You have to be.
So it's like you carry things and you carry things and you carry things, and then, you moving throughout life, you got anger, you got this, you got that, and then you don't know where it come from. And like they always say, it come from your childhood. And, and being a child, being rejected, not understanding why. So that's why for me it's so important that when we share these stories that you understand the narrative behind your upbringing, why you were reared and raised the way you were. What I do love, though, despite all the pain and rejection, right? You did come to a realization that, yes, I was loved. Peggy loved me.
Oh, yeah, she did.
And my daddy loved me.
Without no doubt. And I knew on my father's deathbed, I'll never forget this.
And when did he pass away?
He passed October of 2023.
Okay.
I'll never forget this. In August, before he passed, Pastor told me, he said, Jessica, go visit your father and write down everything that he says to you. Never forget that. Then, when he was getting ready to pass, they say the eyesight, the hearing, all that stuff goes, right? My father, there was no way, Chris, that he should have been able to do what he did. My father sat up in that bed and leaned on his right arm. And I was standing at the foot of the bed looking at him. He sat up and he looked at me. He couldn't speak. But the look in his eye, he was telling me how much he loved me.
Yes.
And that he was okay. I knew that. And when he laid back down, I put my mouth towards his ear and I said, Daddy, it's Jessica. It's okay. Me and the kids are going to be fine. It's okay. We're good. It's okay, Daddy. We love you. And everybody always said, he doesn't remember this, remember that. Every time I walked in the door, he was able to call me by name. He was able to call my grandbaby by name. He was able to call my daughter by name, and that just lets me know that my prayers were answered concerning him. Because if I had ever walked in a room and he couldn't call me by my name, I'd have lost my mind, because he's the only thing I had left. He's the only thing I had left. And I always said to God, I said, you've blessed everyone else on the holidays. Their table is full. My table's not. And I know he's probably saying, what am I going to do with her? What am I going to do with her? What am I going to do with this one? But, that's if I'm honest, that's an envy of mine, because the holidays are important to me. I love the holidays. That's family time. That's memory time. That's the laughter, the love. There's a few arguments in the kitchen about food. There's, there's pillow fights. There's games watching on TV. There's, you're telling stories. And that's gone.
So let me just ask you before we wrap up. Yeah, give me like 3 most powerful lessons that you learned out of being adopted and losing your adopted parents. And just give us
3.
Yeah.
The first thing I would say is that I learned rejection is real. That's the first thing. Rejection is real. And I will always say, you not only feel it, witness it, endure it as a child, but even as an adult.
Yes.
Church, work, everyday, society, it's real. It's real. That's the first thing. The second thing, love is real. Love is real. Love is absolutely real. And it's a beautiful thing. Not everybody knows how to love. Not everybody realizes that love is a verb. It's an action.
Yes.
You put it into action. The third thing I will say is that if I don't know anything else, nobody else ever has to love me again. I know that my mother and my father loved me without a shadow of a doubt.
I love that.
Without a shadow of a doubt. You ain't got to call my name. You ain't got to say hello. You ain't got to pat me on the back. You ain't got to tease me. You don't have to do any of that. I know what real love is. And not just from them, but even as I've grown in my 40s to now my 50s, I really understand the level of love that God gives and how he gives it. Again, born and raised all my life in church, but I didn't understand the dynamics of the love of God, the unconditional love of God, until here later in my life, 45 to now, right? I didn't understand it. So love is real. It's real. And you know it when you see it. You know it. People can tell you all day that they love you.
But like you said, it's a verb.
It's a verb. It's an action. It's an action. And you can tell people who are really sincere and genuine with it. And those safe spaces of love, you can really tell who's intentional and sincere and genuine with it. And that's not everybody.
Well, I want to say, first of all, I want to thank you for being my guest. It took me everything not to cry, but it's just amazing. Like, you just never know the company that you keep. So I never knew how similar our stories were. Like you, I grew up in a 2-parent household, and they invested in me. They invested in like your adoptive mother. My mother couldn't bear children either. So it's like. And then to find out I had other siblings too, it's just powerful. And then this journey of life will take you down so many roads where you start to learn what that rejection meant and how God intervened and put good people in your life. Just imagine how your life may have or how that narrative could have been had you not been adopted. See, and I'm always, even in our parenting, and I wish we could go on and on and on, but people don't understand that as an adoptee, feeling that rejection, and now you become a mother. That's a whole nother episode.
Oh, that's a whole nother. That's a whole nother episode.
Loving through your loss and your grief, parenting and having the responsibility of your own biological children.
Listen,
it's powerful.
and you don't realize in rearing those kids what you have deposited into those kids from what you've gone through. Now they are taking on what the last bit of what you didn't deal with. And as they come up into young men, young women, you see that in them, and you're like, oh God, I
what
deal
you
with
transfer,
you transfer.
But the one thing too I love too about what you were sharing is about therapy. You know, like we'd be so afraid to go down that road of dealing with those different issues. It's really ugly.
It is.
And you got to be prepared to deal with it. But when you come out on the other side,
baby,
the lessons that you learn, it's a beautiful thing. So,
and you see the growth within yourself too, the maturity and the growth within yourself, because there were a lot of stuff before. I can be honest, if I hadn't have gone through and seen a lot of the stuff that I've endured, the growth, the maturity, no. I honestly wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't.
So thank you. Thank you for being my guest.
You're welcome.
I appreciate and love you, sis.
I love you too.
That's another episode. Thank you.